Hey there, PlayStation fans. Darth Karnivorus here, and welcome back to another epic PlayStation video. And today, guys, I'm going to show off both of my modded PS Vitas. So I do have the PS Vita 1000 or the PS Vita Fat or OLED model, whatever one you want to call it, and also have the PS Vita 2000, which is, aka the slim version. So I do have both of these ones. Both of them are modded by yours truly, and yeah, they're actually a really nice thing to have, especially because you know, like back in the day, we'd be kicking about with like Game Boy Advance, DS, whatever. You'd have to carry around the cartridges with you, and eventually, you got like a DS and a PSP where you could actually download the games. But nowadays, all these consoles are all modded, and you can have like SD card adapters and things like that. So you've got a hell of a lot of memory. So on my 2000, which is this one right here, yeah, it's maybe a little bit hard to see, guys, because it's getting a bit dark now. This is a aqua blue Japanese version, and this one is in immaculate condition, not one mark on it at all. I'm so proud of that one. That's one like I said, I've modded that one. And then we've got the OLED model, which, yeah, it does have a couple of scratches. There's one little scratch on this part of the screen, and at the back part, the touchpad, it has a couple of scratches. But that's just, it's only cosmetic. It's not going to affect any gameplay whatsoever. But the thing is, well, guys, I've been playing this one a lot more just because I do have a Steam Deck, okay, and I do love the Steam Deck. I mean, I love it. Steam Deck to me is like Marmite. You either love it or hate it. It's one of the two. And sometimes I've got to admit, guys, with the Steam Deck, I really hate it because sometimes you could be playing a game, then all of a sudden the game just force closes, or you try and unpause the game and it just crashes. And you know what, guys, I know a lot of you guys probably haven't experienced anything like this. I've even put posts on Reddit explaining things, and the amount of comments I would get with people saying, I've had mine since launch and I've had absolutely zero issues with it. And, it's just stupid things like that. They've not experienced it. They probably will eventually experience it, or they're just lucky to get a system that, won't, mess up, But anyway, so on to the PS Vita. So, yep, get a PS Vita 1000 and 2000. You're probably wondering why I've got two. Now, I actually bought this one about 2 years ago, roughly, maybe a bit less than 2 years ago. And it came with a 200 gig SD card, and it was modded, but I accidentally, erased some stuff. It was actually, I think it crashed, and it kept crashing, come to think of it, and I had to keep force rebooting it, and it was, grinding on me. So I looked up a forum that says there's a possibility it could be some plugins, so I accidentally deleted all the plugins and I lost everything. So I had to remod it myself. And thanks to a YouTuber by the name of Tech James, I was able to you know, mod this back to health, and I'm so happy. So, with obviously the experience of modding this one, modding this one was a piece of cake. It really was. And this one has a 512 gigabyte, so technically half a terabyte, and that's way more than enough. Like with this one, I do obviously have a lot of games. I think I've got 70 PS Vita games, all updated, all DLC with it as well, and I've got a whole lot of retro arts games and homebrew games and ports and things like that. So, but with this one, I don't have to delete anything off, which is fantastic. I mean, it's great to have all the spare memory. I mean, you'll see in a moment how many games I actually have on this thing, and I still have roughly about 78 gigabyte left, so I've still got a lot more room. There we go, the lamp just came on through the timer. I've got a lot more room to play with, So there we go. And yep, so here's the first one. So the thing is, though, you can only hold up to 100 bubbles on the screen itself. So once you get to over 100 bubbles, it will come to the very bottom saying that you have to restart the system. Obviously, you have to organise things or delete them or put them in another folder or whatever. Then the other ones will show up. So That obviously took some time, so it probably took me about maybe, I don't know, maybe about a week and a half total to get everything I could ever want on this thing. Yes, I did transfer a lot of games from this to this, and it took some time, but most of the stuff was done through Pkgj, and like for the PS1 eboots, they were done just by downloading them from, you know, other websites, which I'm not going to mention because, yeah, for obvious reasons. So, right now I've got 130 PS Vita games. So, each folder contains 10 games. So there's 10 here, so that's 100, and there's another 30. And like I said, guys, these are all updated to the max. They are all, if there's any DLC to come with them, I've got DLC as well. And here's my start of my PS Vita games. So I have three, there's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So I've got 80 games. I've still got another probably 20 to download, but it's just finding the time to actually download them, I actually need to sort these ones out. It's very unorganised. And I have 135 PS1 games. I've got another 5 to download to make up my final folder. There's not really much more I want on it, but there's another 5 games I can get, no problem. Then if we go down here, I've got ports, so that consists of like your PC ports, like Doom, even Doom EX 64EX, which has finally came out, and I hope to hell that it gets updated. Hopefully the people that ported this do actually update it. I've been checking every single day, hoping for an update. The game runs flawlessly on PS Vita. It runs at full 60 FPS. It's a beautiful looking game. There's only some minor things that need to be fixed, like if you look at like the coloured doors, for instance, where the keys, let's say blue, yellow, red, when the doors are flashing, it's just slight artifacts that I'm sure the people that ported the game are aware of this. So hopefully hopefully they fix it. We've got Bully as well. So Bully is a Rockstar game where you play as a school kid, aka a bully. I've got Chocolate Doom. So this is Doom. I think it's Doom 1 and 2, or Ultimate Doom 1 and 2. Then we've got the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, so this is like the proper Grand Theft Auto trilogy. PSP did get the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, but it was in different games. You got obviously Liberty City Stories, which is a side story to Grand Theft Auto 3. Then you get Vice City Stories, which is obviously a side story for Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and Chinatown Wars. Now, I've yet to put Chinatown Wars in this, I'll get to it eventually, but I do have San Andreas, GTA 3, Vice City, and Max Payne. So yeah, this is great. So these are basically the iOS and Android versions. So they are in HD. There is settings that you can change to make the game perform better or look better. I also have Quake 1 and Quake 2, because these games are just so damn good on this thing. Then we've got Sonic Mania, which I was so surprised. I actually have Sonic Mania on Nintendo Switch, and I do love the game. I really do. It's quite hard, but it's still a fantastic game. It really is. And I also have Sonic CD as well. I've got Daedalus with every single N64 game I could think of. But the thing is, though, Daedalus does not really play the games that great, to be honest. Like, some are okay, some are kind of hit and miss. Another Metroid 2 remake. I've got the two Sega Master System versions of Sonic. I do have very, very fond memories of playing these ones on Sega Game Gear. Just sitting up late at night and playing those games. It's just, it's just this nostalgic thing for me. The thing is, though, I didn't have a Game Gear until I was in my, my early teens. Probably 16, 17 is when I got one. Obviously, they've been out quite a while before that, so I was more of a Game Boy guy, then we've got Mario Kart Vita, which I'm really impressed by this game. It plays so well, but it's quite slow, and obviously they've not really mastered the drifting, but it's still really, really good. Shadow Warrior as well. So yeah, if you've played, if you've played like Duke Nukem, this is obviously not the sequel, but it's a spiritual successor, if you want to call it that. And then we have Mario, which this is basically actually, you know what? I'll fire it up. This is like like as you can see with the wallpaper, this is like a super widescreen, sort of modern version of Super Mario Brothers. So you can imagine like this being made in like I don't know, Mario Maker, for instance. You know, this sort of game. I didn't realise how quiet that was. So as you can see, it's all zoomed away out of it. I think it's great. It looks so cool. Get the hidden mushroom. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. So, yep, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's just Mario, but it's in a proper zoomed out version. I do have RetroArch on here. This is the Crazy Mac build. So if you've never heard of the Crazy Mac build, this has got thousands of games. I think there's like 11,000 ROMs on here in total. And it's crazy the amount of stuff that's on here. So you've got all your favourite like Super Nintendo games, Sega Genesis or Mega Drive in the UK, Master System, Neo Geo. You even have like the Super Nintendo ROM hacks as well. It's just like you can play like Mortal Kombat 12 and it's like, you know, just like a Mortal Kombat 3 ROM hack, you know, it's crazy. Plus, one of the things that I do love is music. You know, I mean, you guys are probably the same. There's probably barely any time where you don't listen to music, you know. Right now I'm not listening to music obviously because of this video, but I'd either be watching something, playing something, or listening to music, or doing all three at the same time because I grew up with like the original Xbox and Xbox 360 where on the original Xbox certain games would allow you to, you know, play custom soundtracks from the Xbox hard drive, if you remember that, ripping a CD and then just playing it through maybe like Project Gotham Racing or Grand Theft Auto 3 or whatever, those sort of games. Even Black, the one that was made by EA and Criterion, that allowed you to, you know, play some music. Even Burnout, the Burnout games were always really good for that. And then when Xbox 360 came out, it was pretty much almost, there's about 99% of the game library you could play music through. There's only a couple that you couldn't. I think Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005, you could not play music through that, strangely enough. I don't know why. But you can actually play it on this one as well. So, for instance, if I go into this, as you can see, I've got music playing. So, I can play my music, and I can also, I don't want to obviously get a copyright strike here, so I'll just play a couple of seconds of that. But the good thing is, I can play that while playing any game I want. So I can play a PS1 game, play music through it. I can play a PSP game, play music through it. I can play a PS Vita game, play music through it. So it's a great thing. But yes, this is one thing that I do love. Like I said, guys, I have quite a few handhelds. You know, I've got like the Game Boy Advance with the IPS screen. I've in the Everflash. Is it Everflash? Yeah, is it Everflash 4? Is it? No, it's not Everflash. What the hell was that called again? Easy Flash. That's it. Easy Flash. It's like EZ Flash. So I've got all the Game Boy Advance games I could ever want on that. I do have a Nintendo DSi XL. I've got a new 3DS XL. I've got two PS Vitas. Like I say, guys, you're probably wondering why I've got two. The reason why is because I do love this thing, but I do love the screen on this one. Plus, I prefer this one because it feels better in the hands for me. I've got, you know, really large hands, so it's, I don't know, it's a weird one to say, but, you know, stuff that's a bit, you know, and don't turn this dirty, but stuff that's a bit, you know, bigger and thicker, for me, for hand-wise, is, it, you know, it feels better. Like the Steam Deck, for instance, that feels great in the hands because it's more ergonomic, it's got proper grip. So as you can see, this one's kind of flat. It does have these little indents, but doesn't really make much of an impact, to be honest. And obviously, you know, ones like the Nintendo Switch, which I do have right here, which is charging. This is my OLED Nintendo Switch, and I do have the Skull & Co. Grip case, which this is dockable, by the way, which is awesome. But there's something about the PS Vita that I do love. I mean, the fact that I can play, you know, for instance, let's see, where are we? Aha, right, so this, I mean, I'm sure you guys are, you know, totally familiar with Doom. I mean, it's probably, you know, one of the most, like Mario or Sonic or, you know, Tekken, Street Fighter, whatever, Mortal Kombat. It's one of those games that even your granny's probably heard of. Ignore the budgies, they're just being little shits. It's probably one of those ones where everybody else has heard about it. So this is my favourite version of Doom. I mean, I grew up with this version. I mean, I grew up with the Super Nintendo version, which I actually hated. I played it through from start to beginning just because I loved the game Doom. But this is one I grew up with. I mean, I just absolutely love this version. I love this intro as well. This intro is just so damn good. It's so simple, it's so basic, but it's just, I mean, you get obviously the fire of hell, then the Doom logo just pops out, you know. But the good thing about playing PSP games on this is you get save states. So I'm playing this. I'm playing this through vanilla. I don't have any cheats enabled. I'm playing this through, you know, like I said, vanilla. So the only thing I'm sort of cheating with technically is save states, because it's not like it was back then where you could just kind of, you know, sit at your TV for hours upon hours at end and just play games all day. Whereas, and obviously, I've got a wife, I've got family, I've got a job, you know, so I can't really do that all the time. I mean, I've got a day off today, which I, you know, have to do things, you know, I've got responsibilities. So it's not like when I was younger, where I could probably just sit and play this for hours on end. But the thing is, though, what I do love about this as well, so this is Adrenaline. This is a PSP emulator. It's like a perfect PSP emulator, because the PS Vita does have a PSP emulator on it. Anyway, so the thing that I love about this one is the fact that you can fully customize the controls, which is amazing, honestly, guys, because as you guys know, the PS Vita does have a D-pad, all the buttons. It does have 2 analog sticks though, so playing games like Killzone Mercenary, Call of Duty, Resistance, those sort of games, even like Assassin's Creed or Uncharted, you know, you need that second analog stick for aiming, for the camera, whatever else. And the good thing about this one is you can fully customize the controls. So you just hold in the PlayStation button, go to settings, and controller settings. I've got it set to custom, so as you can see, I have completely mapped out every single control, obviously to try and make it, you know, appear a bit more modern. So, for instance, I'm using the left analog stick for up and down, strafe left, strafe right, and the right analog stick is for looking left and right. R is to fire, L is to open doors, or activate a switch or whatever, and it's just it's just such a breath of fresh air, because as you guys know, these older games, the control scheme isn't the best, because at the time when this game came out for PlayStation, the PlayStation just had, you know, a D-pad, buttons and shoulder buttons. That's it, before they brought out the DualShock controller. And obviously these games don't support things like that. So it is obviously just an 8-way direction to move, but it works. It works definitely for me as well. I've mapped the switching of the weapons to the D-pad, so just get that one so easy. And yeah, that's fantastic. So I do have a lot of other first-person shooters as well, like Quake 2, for instance. Quake 2 on PlayStation, the controls were horrible. They were horrible, and the thing is though, back then, especially when obviously games that were coming out, inverted controls were, you know, the sort of norm back then. My friend, I still make fun of him, because whenever like I take maybe this in, or I take my Steam Deck, or I take my Switch in, and he wants to kind of have a little quick go on it on like break time, he always goes on, no, you've not got it inverted, and he's grew up with controls being inverted, whereas I've grew up with them, but I've always changed them. I've always turned inversion off. But the good thing with this one is, like I say, guys, with the controls, if you've got any games that do have the inversion, you just have to swap the buttons about. So, say for instance, you use like some sort of control scheme, like R to look up and L to look down. You just have to reverse them round. So it would be L to look down and R to look up. As easy as that. So, actually, what I'll do is I'll show you real quick. So, go to my save states here. As you can see, I've got quite a few games running. So you just have to go to load game, and it takes a few seconds, and then you're back in the game. So as you can see, so with this one, I've just done the same sort of controls as Doom, but this is fully 3D, whereas in Doom's obviously sort of 3D. But as you can see, look left and right, look up and look down. So this game was inverted, so I had to switch those buttons about so I can get it properly like that, but it's so much easier that way, guys. And obviously the games look so amazing on this OLED screen, you know. It's obviously this is my PS Vita, this is my PSP, this is my PS1, this is my Super Nintendo, this is my Sega Mega Drive or my Master System, you know, that's the great thing. The fact that I'm going on holiday next week as well, so I'll be taking this and I'll be taking my Steam Deck. So you think of it this way, I'm carrying, you know, probably well over, you know, 1,200 games with me, and you know, that's just amazing, honestly. And the thing is, the age of this thing, the battery life still lasts really good. The battery life on this one lasts a hell of a lot better because it doesn't have that OLED screen. It's only an IPS screen. So, yeah, it's fine though. But the OLED screen is just beautiful. If you're probably watching this video on your phone, your tablet, even if you've got an OLED TV, you're probably watching it on this one as well. So you know how vivid the colours are, how the blacks are blacks, the whites are whites, and how amazing, you know, everything looks on an OLED screen. I mean, I'm using my phone, which is an 8-inch LED, OLED screen, or Super AMOLED screen actually. It's a Samsung Z Flip 3. I do have a Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, which is a 12.4-inch Super AMOLED display, so playing games, reading comics and things like that and those sort of things are amazing. And I'm hoping that Valve do, you know, change it to an OLED screen like Nintendo did with the Switch OLED, because playing games, it breathes new life into the games and just makes them look a lot better, in my honest opinion anyway. Because the thing is though, like the Steam Deck is very, very washed out looking. You know, it's in comparison between these. Don't get me wrong. If you didn't have anything, you wouldn't even notice. If you didn't have anything that was OLED, you definitely wouldn't notice. You would just be like, yeah, this is great. You know, just play my game and play Doom and play whatever on the go. You know, but it is something I do love, guys. This is the first console that I ever pre-ordered with my own money, and I saved up every penny that I had for months in order to get one of these, and I was so overjoyed when I got one. And the thing is, well, guys, I actually forgot to mention, a bit hard to see, but this has got a USB-C mod here. So, yep, you know, I can just charge this using my phone charger, or I can use my Steam Deck charger if I want to charge this thing up. So that is even better. You know, whereas in this one is micro USB. There's a possibility I could get this one USB-C as well, but it's not really a big deal. It just came with, you know, the mod, which is fine by me. But anyway, guys, that's it for the end of this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what's your favourite PS Vita game, what's your favourite PSP game, what's your favourite PS1 game. Now, the good thing about obviously playing PS1 games on this one as well, you have to download a couple of things to make the games run properly, like Pops Loader and what's the other one? CDDA. I can't remember what that one's called. If you need to know that information, just let me know and I'll put a comment down below, reply to your comment. But that's how you get the games to work properly on PS1 emulator, and especially playing games with music, like games like Alien Trilogy, Die Hard Trilogy, Nightmare Creatures, things like that. Things that obviously have the soundtrack separate. That's how you get the games to run. That's how you get the games to play their music and things like that, because it's not fun playing a game when, you know, there's no music, there's only sound effects, you know, so it's kind of boring, you know. But anyway, guys, like I said, let me know in the comments down below. Do you have a modded PS Vita? How big's your memory card on it? And yeah, before you ask, yes, it is SD to Vita anyway. So yeah, obviously I should have said that at the beginning, but oh well. So yeah, 512 GB. I've got a hell of a lot of games on here, guys. I've got a hell of a lot of space left over as well to download even more games, which, yes, I am planning on filling this thing. I do have a Nintendo new 3DS as well, XL, and that's got 128 gig on it. But I've got every single game, ROM, emulator I could ever want on that thing as well. That thing is, you know, packed to the max, and I will probably do that next video. I'll show off my Nintendo DS IXL, and then I'll show my 3DS XL. So I hope you look forward to that one, guys. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below if you did, and let me know what your favourite games are to play on your PS Vita. So anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, throw me a devil horns, also subscribe to my channel for more epic PlayStation stuff like these, and sayonara.